Tonight, veiled warning. The Swiss Foreign Affairs Ministry warns that Sri Lanka's reputation is at stake as Swiss abductee remanded for fabricating facts. New management. Defense Secretary believes that future disaster response can be better coordinated under the Defense Ministry.
Resilience and sustained development which will reduce the vulnerability and economic and social.
Cardinal rule. The Archbishop of Colombo outlines important role of media in the search for unity in challenging times.
We have to be careful in what we print and what we write. Media has an important role in this effort.
In absentia, former Pakistani President General Pervez Musharraf sentenced to death for high treason. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2019.
මේ සීන් එකෙන් කට් වෙන්න. ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
Hi.
Hi.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Kekanaka. Let's dig into your local stories. Now, in the latest development in the Swiss Embassy abduction saga, the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs has warned that Sri Lanka's reputation as a country that upholds the rule of law is at stake. This comes hot on the heels of the arrest and remanding of the alleged embassy abduction victim Ghania Francis yesterday on charges of fabricating evidence. In court, the Attorney General's department revealed that the facts revealed by the alleged victim have been proven to be fabricated. The Attorney General yesterday advised the Criminal Investigation Department to arrest the Swiss Embassy staff member Ghania Francis on charges of exciting disaffection against the government and fabricating false evidence to be used in a future judicial proceeding. The arrest was carried out after Francis was produced before a psychological review panel at the National Institute of Mental Health last afternoon. After being produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate's Court, she was ordered to be remanded until the 30th of this month. Following this development, the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs released a statement stating concern and calling on the Sri Lankan judicial authorities to ensure better protection of its employees' personal rights in any further proceedings and compliance with national law and international standards. The release stated that the FDFA and the Swiss Embassy in Colombo will continue to meet their responsibilities as an employer and do everything in their power to assist the member of staff concerned. The statement also criticized the lengthy interrogation that the alleged victim was subjected to as a cause for concern, given her alleged ill health following the ordeal, and statements by senior officials regarding the veracity of her claims. In the meantime, Swiss Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Hans-Peter Mock, met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday. During the audience, the head of state said that investigations had revealed the alleged abduction to be a total fabrication. The president had also pointed to refutable evidence sorted through by investigators such as Uber reports, telephone conversations and CCTV footage that add weight to this conclusion. The Swiss ambassador was also presented with the government's view that the embassy's staff member may have been compelled by interested parties to bring the president and the government into disrepute. The president also requested the ambassador to cooperate with the government to conduct the investigation to its end so that the truth can finally emerge. With discrepancies reported in the series of events stated by both the Swiss Embassy and the alleged victim baffling investigators initially, further investigations uncovered no evidence of any such abduction. The initial complaint delivered by Second Officer of the Swiss Embassy Raoul Embach to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated the location of the abduction as the vicinity of a prominent girls' school in Colombo 7, where the victim was abducted and sexually abused by 5 individuals in a white vehicle after arriving for a parent-teacher meeting. However, after reviewing the related CCTV footage, investigators found that the victim had not in fact visited the location on the date stated. On interviewing the victim's Uber driver, it was revealed that the victim had travelled to a location on Palmyra Avenue instead on the day. CCTV footage from the vicinity of the Palmyra Avenue location showed the victim arriving at the location, the residence of a former teacher of her daughter, who had incidentally applied for a Swiss visa at the time. The Attorney General's department told court that CCTV footage shows Francis leaving the apartment complex 2 hours later and attempting to flag down a three-wheeler taxi. In this backdrop, during initial questioning on the 8th of December, the victim told investigators that she had deliberately provided false information to the Swiss embassy under pressure from her alleged abductors. The victim subsequently told investigators that the abuse at the hands of her abductors took place in the living room of the teacher's residence at Palmyra Avenue. Having also revealed that this fact was communicated to the Swiss embassy by her on the 5th of December, the embassy remained silent on this vital piece of information. However, the security officer at the Palmyra Avenue location denies allowing any unknown individuals into the premises, which was corroborated by CCTV footage. Further, the Judicial Medical Officer's report following a medical examination reveals no evidence of physical harm to the victim. The court was told that the victim and her family had been given sanctuary at the Swiss ambassador's residence since the 26th of November, where the victim's mobile phone still remains out of reach of investigators to date. State Counsel Janaka Bandara then requested the court to remand the victim as a clear message that the country's reputation is not something to be toyed with. The Attorney General's department also moved the court to order the victim to be held in custody in order for investigations to be carried out to determine the intentions of the victim in fabricating such a story and if any outside players may be involved as well. With that being the case, the alleged victim was remanded until the 30th of December.
Gel scene action. Anti-germ mouthwash සමගින් එන close-up gel එක story එක start කරන්න.
Now moving on with other news, in the lead up to the festive season, the US Embassy in Colombo issued a level 2 travel advisory today, warning US tourists in Sri Lanka of possible targeting of tourist-related locations and public facilities throughout the country. The warning provides guidelines for tourists, warning them to be aware of surroundings in crowded public venues and request them to follow the instructions provided by local authorities. In addition, travelers have been asked to monitor local media for breaking events, while also enrolling in the US Embassy Smart Traveler Information Program to be kept up to date on alerts. Further, travelers have been requested to have contingency plans for emergency situations, as well as follow the State Department on social media for any new developments. The advisory posted on the US Embassy website warns that terrorists may attack with little or no warning, focusing on areas with high density of public movements or tourist traffic. Now, Defence Secretary Major General Kamal Gunaratne says that bringing the country's disaster management apparatus under the umbrella of the Ministry of Defence will serve to increase efficiency and cohesiveness in the management of natural disasters. Such was witnessed during the recent landslides brought on by heavy rains. He made these comments while speaking at the 10th National Building Research Symposium held this morning under the theme of Equitable Resilience.
With the effects of climate change increasing the risks of natural disasters, the National Building Research Organization's 10th Annual Symposium under the theme of Equitable Resilience kicked off today. Chief guest at the event was Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne, who delivered an address on the measures taken by the government to streamline the country's disaster response framework. The Defence Secretary revealed that the President's recent gazetting of the country's disaster management stakeholders under the Defence Ministry's purview was one step towards streamlining and improving cohesiveness between all related government agencies.
Disaster management is not a process that could be tackled in isolation. It needs a very careful coordination, cooperation and liaison among many stakeholders. Being cognizant of this vital need, His Excellency the President has made the decision to synergize all these capabilities which are under different establishments under the Ministry of Defence in order to achieve efficiency and effectiveness as a cohesive outfit to face any disaster situation in future. There are 10 policy facets unleashed by the President, which include sustainable environmental management, development of natural resources, a society based on technology which are more directly linked to the disaster resilience. Therefore, all stakeholders are urgently required to line up to achieve the desired efforts of resilience. To build resilience and sustain development, natural hazards must be addressed in ways which will reduce the vulnerability and economic and social impacts. Consequently, resilience-based sustainable development must be comprehensive in nature, and it requires integrated responses to complex challenges and respect for national ownership and leadership. With respect, I remind the assistance extended by the tri-services and police and their key role in response and relief activities. They not only engage in disaster management but also lead the rehabilitation and reconstruction process as we have seen in the past. So I strongly believe that bringing disaster management stakeholders within the purview of Ministry of Defence would facilitate the coordination and cohesiveness at all levels.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, calls upon media to be a positive instrument in the challenging task of developing a culture of peace and unity. Addressing the 150th anniversary celebration of a Catholic newspaper yesterday, the Cardinal stressed that it is easier to divide communities than to unite them, especially in the aftermath of the Easter attacks.
We have to think outside our narrow-minded criteria and frameworks in order to reach out to the wider public of this country, which consists of Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam and Christianity. Especially in the aftermath of what happened on Easter Sunday, we should talk to our society and impress upon it the importance of developing a culture of unity and peace among us. It's a challenging task. The challenge becomes more pronounced as we go on in time. We have to be careful in what we print and what we write. Media has an important role in this effort. There is also a sense of responsibility that falls upon media, of whatever religious persuasion or cultural persuasion it is, to play a positive role, an encouraging role towards peace and harmony among our people. Media cannot be an instrument of division and struggles. Media cannot be an instrument of hate and violence. Media has to be an instrument of unity. I think that is the challenge that we have tomorrow among us. As we have seen, it is very easy to set fire to the country than to bring it together. The more difficult task is to bring it together in understanding and harmony between the different cultural and religious and social groups that exist among us. An important aspect of that is also the struggle for justice and for equality, the struggle to create a just society, a transparent society, a society that is united.
Now, taking a look at politics, UNP MP Sajith Premadasa today met with members of the public for the first time since his election defeat. Addressing a gathering, the defeated presidential candidate pledged to give leadership to the party's campaign in the looming general election, but questioned the diligence and the commitment of certain factions during the presidential poll.
Following his defeat in the presidential election, MP Sajith Premadasa met members of the public for the first time today with the launch of the program titled Sajith Premadasa from Village to Village. His chosen location for the program's inauguration was Kolonnawa.
පරදින්න හේතුවටක් තියෙනවා. 2015 දී හොරු අල්ලනවා කියලා අවිල්ලා අල්ලපු හොරෙකුත් නැහැ. අපේ මහා බැංකුව කැඩුවයි කියලා චෝදනාවක් ආවා. විදේශ රාජ්‍ය එක්ක සම්බන්ධකම් අනවශ්‍ය මට්ටමට ගොඩනගා ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා අන්තිමේදී අපේ මහා සංඝරත්නයට නිගා කරලා උන්වහන්සේලාට අගෞරවයට පත් කරපු එක තව ප්‍රධාන හේතුවක්. චන්දර සතියක් තියද්දි මිලේනියම් චැලෙන්ජ් කෝපරේෂන් කිව්සුම ගෙනල්ලා ඒක දාලා ඉතුරු ටිකත් කෙලවලා දාන එක. නැද්ද? මම බොරු නම් බොරු කියන්න. අටවෙනි හේතුව මම කියන්නම්. අර පිටගංකාරය ආපු වෙලාවේ අපේ පක්ෂයන් සල්ලි හොයලා දුන්නා. ඡන්ද කරන්න. හැබැයි අපේ නායකයා ආපු වෙලාවේ ඒව කළා දුන්නේ නැහැ. අද සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස ලක්ෂ 2600ක් ණයයි. එතුමන තනියම ඔක්කොම හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් උනේ.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමාට ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී අපි පසුබෑමකට ලක් වුණා. මේ පසුබෑමේ වගකීම මම බාර ගන්නවා. ඉදිරියේදී පවත්වන්නට තිබෙන මහා මැතිවරණයට පුළුල් සංධානයක් ගොඩනගලා ඒ පුළුල් සංධානය හරහා මේ රටේ මහා මැතිවරණය ජයග්‍රහණය කරවීම උදෙසා උපරිම පියවරවල් ගන්නට අපි සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා. ඒට නායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්නටත් මම ලෑස්තියි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි. දැන් අද කැලෑපත්තර ව්‍යාපාර බොහෝම ලොකු උනන්දුවකින් රට වටේම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. හැබැයි ජනාධිපතිවරණ ජයග්‍රහණය උදෙසා ඒ වගේ උනන්දුවක් නම් මම දැක්කේ නැහැ මේ පාර්ශවවලේ. දැන් අද කොළොන්නාව සභාවේ පාක්ෂිකයෝ සියලු දෙනාම නැගිටලා කිව්වොත් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස කාලේ හරි විශ්‍රාම යන්නයි කියලා අපි ලෑස්ති විශ්‍රාම යන්න. වෙන මොනවත් නිසා නෙවෙයි ලැජ්ජා බය කියන නහරය තවමත් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසගේ ඇඟේ තිබෙනවයි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කලින්.
අනාගත නායකයාට සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමාට.
In the meantime, a meeting between UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe and activists from the University Youth Front was worked off at the party headquarters Sirikota this morning.
අපි ජනාධිපතිවරණයෙන් පස්සේ එක තැන ඉන්න බෑ. ජනවාරි මාසේ ඉඳන් අපි දැන් ඉදිරියට යනවා. මම මෙතන හැමදාම ඉන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මට තියෙන්නේ අපේ අලුත් නායකත්වයක් ඉදිරියට ගේන්න. සියලු දෙනාම එක්සත් වෙලා එකතු වෙලා එක එක් වාද නොකර සැලැස්මක් ගේන්න කියලා මම කියලා තියෙන්නේ. අපේ සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයා ඇතුළු අනික් අය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වගකීම බාර අරගන්නවා. වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යන්න ප්‍රධාන තරුණ අයත් අපේ අලුත් නායකයින්ුත් මේගොල්ලොත් එකතු වෙලා දැන් පක්ෂය ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ. මම ඊට වඩා දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් කතා කරන්නේ. මීට වඩා දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් කතා බට ආපහු බයින්න පටන් ගන්නවා.
We'll see you again after this very short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching First at Night. Now, Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara today sought permission from the Colombo High Court to attend his son's wedding. It came at a time when both he and former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando were further remanded. The duo is accused of failing to prevent the Easter Sunday attacks, even though there were advanced warnings of an impending attack.
Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara, who was sent on compulsory leave, and former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando were further remanded until 23rd of December by Colombo Additional Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage today. The duo was arrested for allegedly committing a criminal offence by failing to prevent the coordinated terror bombings on Easter Sunday this year, even after receiving 4 warnings on the attacks. The Attorney General's Department informed the Additional Magistrate that statements have been recorded from 3 former IGPs, 4 DIGs and former Minister Ranjit Bandara with regard to the incident. It also said that the Attorney General has instructed the CID to record statements from former President Maithripala Sirisena, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya, several former Muslim ministers and His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit. Considering the submissions, the Additional Magistrate ordered to further remand Fernando and Jayasundara until December 23rd. In the meantime, IGP Pujit Jayasundara sought permission from the Colombo High Court for him to attend the wedding ceremony of his son that is scheduled to be held next month. The bail application filed by the IGP was taken up before Colombo High Court Judge Aditya Patabendige today. He requested the court to deliver an order to the Commissioner General of Prisons to allow the IGP to attend the ceremony. However, the Attorney General's Department said the court does not have the jurisdiction to issue such orders. The court was in agreement with the argument of the AG's department and said that he would direct the request to the Prisons Commissioner General for consideration. The bail application was then scheduled to be taken up again on the 9th of January, and the respondents were ordered to raise objections on that day, if there are any.
Now, a woman was stabbed to death near the Kegel Magistrates Court premises today by her husband. She had been queuing up at the court premises entry next to security officials when she was attacked. Police arrested the husband of the victim while she was admitted to the Kegel hospital. Despite the efforts of the hospital staff, she succumbed owing to internal bleeding caused by 6 stab wounds. The mother of the two had decided to separate from her husband last year. Now, prison officers opened fire on a prisoner at the Homagama court premises this morning when he attempted to escape. The injured inmate had been admitted to the Homagama hospital. The prisoner was brought to the court premises this morning as the hearing of a case filed against him was to be conducted. Prison officers had given a chance for the fleeing suspect to surrender before opening fire on him. It is reported that the prisoner was in jail over drug-related offences. The central bank's purchasing managers report for November reveals that the manufacturing index expanded for the month, recording a value of 56 due to expansions in new orders, production and employment. All the sub-indices indicated an expansion, yet at a slower pace compared to October 2019. New orders and production expanded at a slower rate, mainly due to the slowdown in manufacturing of textile and wearing apparel. Although that was the case, the stocks of purchases expanded at a higher rate due to intended accumulation of stocks to fulfill future requirements, anticipating supply delays due to upcoming Christmas and New Year holidays. Further, suppliers' delivery time reached a neutral level, indicating that it remains the same as in the previous month. All sub-indices of the PMI manufacturing index except suppliers' delivery time, which was at the neutral level, exceeded the neutral threshold of 50, signaling an overall expansion in manufacturing activities during the month of November this year. The services PMI reached a 16-month high to 57.4 index points in November 2019, supported by the expansion in new businesses, business activity and expectations for activity. Now, Boeing announces that it will temporarily halt production of its troubled 737 MAX airliner in January. Production of the jet had continued despite the model being grounded for 9 months after 2 deadly crashes. More than 300 people died when 2 737 MAX aircraft crashed in Indonesia and Ethiopia after reported problems with a new feature. Boeing had been hoping to have the planes back in the air by the end of this year. US regulators, however, made it clear that they would not be certified to return to the skies that quickly. Now, taking a look at the markets, Sri Lanka's stocks closed 0.09% stronger today, snapping back from a 2-day fall supported by diversified holdings. The all-share price index closed to 5.33 points, up at 6,062.33, amid volatile trading, closing near the daily high after reaching a low of 6,051.77. Market turnover was 240.2 million rupees, while 50 stocks gained and 65 fell. Let's take a look at how the markets performed during the day.
The secondary market yield curve remained broadly unchanged, while overall market witnessed limited activity amidst low volume. The central bank announced an issue of Rs 25 billion worth of treasury bills at the treasury bill auction that will be held tomorrow. In the equity market, the bourse concluded in positive territory to rebound from a 2-day negative skid, mainly boosted by the price appreciations in Carson's and Mills.com. The benchmark index, the SPI, witnessed a volatile movement, reaching an intraday high of 6,063 within the first hour of trading, followed by a downtrend to reach intraday low of 6,052 and ultimately rebounded to close at 6,062, gaining 5 points. Foreigners continue to be net sellers amidst high foreign participation.
Pope Francis has made changes to the way the Roman Catholic Church deals with cases of sexual abuses of minors by abolishing the rule of pontifical secrecy. New papal documents lift the obligation of silence on those who report abuse or allege to have been victims. The lifting of pontifical secrecy in cases of sex abuse investigations was a key demand by church leaders at a summit on sexual abuse held at the Vatican in February. The Pope has also changed the Vatican's definition of child pornography, increasing the age of subject from 14 or under to 18 or under. Both of the documents issued today are known as prescriptums, where the Pope uses his authority to rewrite specific articles of canon law or parts of previous papal documents. Now in sports, pacer Kasun Rajatha has been ruled out of the second test against Pakistan, scheduled to be held in Karachi due to a hamstring injury. Now Rajatha had picked up the hamstring strain during his spell with the new ball on day 5 of the first test and proceeded to bowl only 6 overs as a result. Rajatha is now the second Sri Lankan seamer to be ruled out of the series after Suranga Lakmal, who contracted dengue. Lahiru Kumara and Vishnu Fernando are the only 2 frontline seamers currently at Sri Lanka's disposal. Now, Italy's top-flight Serie A footballing league received a backlash yesterday to a new anti-racism campaign that presented artwork featuring 3 side-by-side paintings of apes. The league said the paintings by an Italian artist aim to spread the values of integration, multiculturalism and brotherhood, but anti-discrimination campaign groups, top football clubs and residents of Rome all said using monkeys in the artwork was inappropriate. AS Roma tweeted that the club did not believe using monkey images was the right way to tackle the racism football, and AC Milan tweeted that they strongly disagreed with the campaign. Amid the severe backlash, however, some others felt that the anti-racism message didn't clearly come across but did not see it as something negative. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.